Prince Harry arrived at the High Court this morning just after 9:30 to a sea of waiting press and a chopper circling above. The scene was set for an historic, dramatic courtroom showdown. At the heart of it, these stories from Mirror Group newspapers from 1996 to 2011. Prince Harry alleges the private information splashed over the pages came from journalists who use illegal methods to get exclusives. The publisher denies this. Once Harry was sworn in at around 10:30, his witness statement dropped and the 49 pages were explosive. He didn't hold back, writing,
"The tabloids have known the challenges and mental health struggles that I have had to deal with throughout my childhood and adult life. And for them to then play on that and use it to their own advantage, I think is, well, criminal."
He went on to say,
"Trolls react and mobilise to stories they create. People have died as a result. How much more blood will stain their typing fingers before someone can put a stop to this madness?"
Elsewhere, he said the thought of former Daily Mirror editor Piers Morgan earwigging his mother's messages made him physically sick, and also took a swipe at the government, claiming both they and the press are at rock bottom. Inside the courtroom was a quieter affair, but in one feisty exchange, Prince Harry said he believed a story about his 18th birthday party was connected to payments to private investigators. "And so what?" replied Mirror Group newspaper's barrister Andrew Green KC. Prince Harry said the timing was suspicious. "And so what?" repeated Green. Prince Harry then said giving an initial interview had been enough to incentivise unlawful activity. Now, throughout Prince Harry's time on the stand, he spoke in a calm and measured way and in hushed tones. Even at one point, he was asked to speak up, and he didn't. Throughout the whole day today, they're going through these 33 articles that Prince Harry is complaining about. Mirror Group newspapers have said that these were collected in legal ways, meaning that someone around Prince Harry must have talked. Prince Harry disputes that and says they were collected through illegal means. Neither side appeared to land a knockout blow today, but the onus is still on Prince Harry to prove his case and convince the judge.
He needs to show he can stand up to a KC, and he has to, by the way, prove that these articles were acquired, the information in them was acquired through nefarious, illegal means. That essentially means he can't just be a sort of, a wall of emotion and pain. He has to deliver more than that, and it does help, of course, if you speak with sincerity, if you speak slowly, clearly and convincingly, and I think he's doing his very best.
It was coming up to 5 when Prince Harry emerged from court straight into a waiting car. He'll be back again tomorrow when the case will pick up where it left off, focusing on his relationship with former girlfriend Chelsea Davy. Yet more uncomfortable questions in the battle which the Prince has chosen to make his life's work.
I should tell there, well, earlier I spoke to Alan Rusbridger, the former editor-in-chief of The Guardian, and asked him who has more to lose in this High Court battle, Prince Harry or the newspapers?
Well, the risk for Prince Harry is twofold. One that he loses, that the judge is not persuaded, and the second is that he's awarded less than he would have been if he'd been offered an out-of-court settlement. I don't know if he has been. But I think he is determined, and when you hear his evidence today, you can see 20 or 30 years of bitter hurt and betrayal in his view. And I think he thinks that it's about time that somebody got those responsible into court, and that the whole truth as he would see it is heard. And so far, both the News Group newspapers and Mirror Group newspapers have spent tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions in settling claims so that they don't get into court. And it really needed one person like Harry, and he's probably the only person really rich enough and powerful enough to insist that all was heard in court.
I mean, Prince Harry is framing this very much as a battle against what he sees as corruption in journalism. He says journalism needs to be saved. Our country is judged globally by the state of our press, and it is at rock bottom. Is he right to any degree?
Well, journalism was in a terrible state. Of that, there is no doubt. There was widespread criminality in the British press, especially in the tabloid press. All that was supposed to be examined in the second part of the Leveson inquiry. The first part looked at the general ethics of the press, and the second part was supposed to look into the criminal behaviour that had been going on. That, as we know, was killed off with intensive lobbying from the newspapers. So this is the first chance really to have all this ventilated in court.
You can sense the hurt that he has carried with him and the anger against the tabloids. But him ventilating all of that in a public court, what is the potential damage to the newspapers or to the tabloids?
Well, if it was proved by the court or accepted by the court that Harry and others were hacked and their privacy was illegally intruded into, that is potentially a very serious matter for the newspapers, not only in financial terms, because they're going to have to pay up a lot of compensation to not only Harry but a lot of people. It's damaging reputationally for newspapers who are struggling, we all know, in the age of Google and Facebook. And potentially it opens up the possibility of criminal charges against the people and editors and senior managers involved.
Do you think, it presages the demise of the tabloids, though? Because there is an argument that outside of what many people regard as tittle-tattle or gossip, the tabloids can still hold power to account.
Tabloid journalism at its best is fantastic. It's powerful, it's necessary. It's what ordinary people read, and it can do a brilliant job in, as you say, holding people to account in a very approachable, often very powerful way. But in the tabloids' own telling of this was a really grim period where some papers were out of control, and the only way they were getting these award-winning stories was by using criminal means and employing not journalists but employing private detectives to inquire into people's utmost private lives. So nobody wants to see those days come back. The only question is whether there needs to be some form of accounting. I think if this was another industry, if we were talking about the car industry or the oil industry or the banking industry, there would be no question that people would want to get to the bottom of it and see who was responsible.
Alan Rusbridger, thank you very much for talking to us.